So somebody brought up a good point to me this morning that the heck is your YouTube channel, your social media platforms all about? Is it your writing? Is it this? Is it that? So, do I have a theme? What is my brand, so to speak? Well, it is interesting to ask because I do talk a lot about RPGs. I do talk a lot about artificial intelligence, talk about salt and pepper shakers, all that kind of stuff. So, what the heck is it? Well, one of the things that I've tried to focus on across the last year is what actually makes me happy as a person. And when I figure out what makes me happy, I'm a better parent, I'm a better employer, I'm a better employee. I am technically both. Um, it really kind of just helps me be a better overall person, understanding what it is that kind of brings me joy. And I think we all lack a lot of that. It's very easy to just fall into that, oh, the world is terrible and I'm going to be angry about everything all day long, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, what are my channels about? Well, it's about the little things in life that I do that I actually kind of enjoy. Yeah, sometimes work sneaks in there, but I got to be honest, I do kind of like my job. So yeah, there's some AI stuff that falls in there. There's some social media management stuff that falls in there, but yeah, I'm a physicist by training, so I do have a doctoral degree in physics. Bunch of papers out there. If you're bored and need a way to sleep, let me know, and I'll send you some papers that I've written over the years. They will put you right out. But the I've written some fiction novels. Those little things that I've done over the years that kind of make me happy. So what's with the salt and pepper shakers? Well, I'm in my 50s. I've got kids that are in middle school and just about to finish up elementary school, and one that's about to start high school next year. And both my parents have passed. So I started thinking about, you know, the time they had, the time they were around and what it was they did that made them happy, and the times when they weren't happy, how good parents they were or weren't. We'll leave that part out. But one of the things that I found interesting is my dad is the one that kind of made me enjoy gaming because he was a software engineer. He started in 1962. He retired in about 2002. So he was from punch cards to the Y2K bug. He enjoyed Avalon Hill war games. He enjoyed video games. He enjoyed coming home from work and unplugging from that highly technical, cerebral thing and saying, okay, I want to do something imaginative. He loved chess. He loved all that kind of stuff. He read a lot, science fiction, fiction. He's where I got my love of reading from. So, and my ability to write, because when he was still alive and I wrote my first book, he looked at me, he's like, "Are you sure you're done? Or do you want to go maybe take another pass at this?" And his dad's a little hint for, yeah, you do some more. Which is kind of typical dad. But what's with the salt and pepper shakers, right? They're all over your social media feed. What the heck's going on with those things? Well, after my father passed away, my parents been married, since they were in their 20s, and my dad passed away when he was in his 70s. So it was right at 70. He might have been 60. I'd have to do the math, but yeah, he was 70. So it sort of caused me to think, what really was it that made them happy? And to my dad, it was gaming, and I've tried to spend more time playing games with my kids, whether it's a board game, an RPG, or video game, whatever it is, just some time with them doing something, fun and something creative or something. We do some artwork together, even though I'm a terrible artist, they're better than I am, but still. They all take piano lessons, which was something else my parents instilled was music. But let's get back to the salt and pepper shakers. What the heck is it about these salt and pepper shakers? Well, after my father passed away, my mother didn't really know what to do, right? She was retired. She didn't want to travel. She hated airplanes. I think she'd only ever been on two in her entire life, and both of those were for funerals. No, one was when I had surgery when I was up in somewhere else. But anyway, so she maybe three times in her life, and two for funerals, one because her son was having surgery. It but when dad passed away, she didn't want to fly. She hated driving long distances. So she started going to flea markets in Texas. She lived in here in Dallas, the Dallas area. Tons of flea markets everywhere. Used to be a lot of little, for lack of a better term, antique shops, which really aren't true antiques. They're just sort of stuff that people would like that's maybe 20 years old. But she kind of picked up this habit of wherever she went, she'd spend a couple bucks on some salt and pepper shakers. So the one behind me is probably one of the older ones that she had in her collection of like 200 of them when she passed away. Um, and it's some Japanese manufacturers imported, the moonshine bottles of the salt and pepper shakers to things like this, right? So these little Santa Clauses that were kind of cute. I'm not sure I'm going to keep these out for the holidays because she had a ton of Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus and other stuff. They ranged from these really nice ceramic things to sort of, liquor jugs to little tiny toilet seats that were the actual salt and pepper shakers. So you'll see it has the little P in the holes there, and salt looks exactly the same, except it has an S. I thought those were kind of, my teenage son thinks these are adorable, by the way. It but it kind of brought her happiness to do this. Now, I can tell you that when she did pass away, it was kind of sudden, and we had to go figure out how to pack all this stuff up in her house, and then what do you do with it? Because who wants 200 plus salt and pepper shakers, right? So it's either open an antique shop yourself or they go in my garage. So they're in my garage. But I've kind of gone on this quest to figure out more about them. And what are these things? Was this made in the 80s? Was this made in the 90s? Or was this made in 1940 or 50 or 60 like that thing was? It's probably somewhere from the 50s or 60s. But yeah, it's sort of this little quest to just understand the stuff that brought my parents that sort of happiness. And because I think everybody in life does need a little bit more happiness. So like the next mission I'm on is to maybe sort through my dad's stamp collection, which is like a second generation, now third generation stamp collection that my family's had. What am I going to do with it? No idea, because my dad used to spend many weekends sorting through these things lovingly and enjoying them when he wasn't playing Avalon Hill war games or occasionally video games or chess or whatever it was. He wasn't a big RPG fan. He played them off and on, but he wasn't a huge fan. I enjoy them, but generational difference, I guess. Uh, but I think that we got to take time for these little things, and we don't do that anymore. We don't do that as much as I think we should. Yes, some people have sports, some people have other things, but just little things that kind of bring you that joy. And whatever it is, I encourage everybody to go off and find it and embrace it and don't care what other people say about it. Don't care what other people think about it. I'm sure if you enjoy it, there's somebody else out there that does as well. All you have to do is find it. And social media is a great way to find people who enjoy the same things you do. And if you have esoteric hobbies that are a little bit different, like, reading fantasy books based on an RPG, as well as sorting through your mother's salt and pepper shakers or your dad's stamp collection, or the other 1,000+ fiction books I have running around this place. There's somebody else out there that may enjoy one or more of the very same things you do. And social media is a great way to just kind of load some of that out there. Say, hey, look, here's something cool I figured out. Somebody will find you, and somebody will contact you and say, you know, hey, I like that too, or they'll leave a comment, or yeah, sure, there'll be 12 people that leave negative comments, ignore them. But you will find people out there that they have the same joys that you do, and that to me is the power of social media, and that's why it's so important. So I think we'll just leave it at that. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving and upcoming holiday season.